Good evening from our side. I'm Nikos Karacapilidis.
Yeah, and I'm Dimitris Tsakalidis. Yeah.
Let us present you the idea and the progress so far behind this European project. First of all, we are really happy to collaborate with DCF towards achieving this target. It's a big challenge for us. When talking about challenges to be addressed, I think the challenges are there. They have been discussed a lot so far during the previous sessions. So it's about establishing faith, about joining up the efforts of citizens and policymakers. Anthony raised a few issues before about how to address scaling issues, etc., etc. So we'll try to sketch our idea and our solution. First of all, we like deliberative democracy. We all like deliberative democracy. We all like deliberations. But when we start wondering, okay, what's the outcome of these deliberations? What is the end of the process? What brings to us? And in most cases, it comes to transcripts. Could be short ones, could be long ones, but transcripts are there. Most of them are publicly accessible, but how useful are they in our current deliberations? I mean, can we reuse the outcomes of a past deliberation? Can we get some profit? Can we easily extract nice arguments from a deliberation that has happened in the past? So one thing, one product, as I said, is transcripts that are out there, long documents written in Word or somewhere else, 50, 60 pages documents. But it's not the case always. There are some platforms that are being used. One of them is Polis, is promoted by the Commission. What is Polis about? It's, let's say, a website. It's a web platform where citizens can upload their opinion on a subject, and they can somehow say, I agree or I disagree on what something has been said before. But that's all. What is behind this is a database, the content of whose is what do you see there. Like there are some, the feedback is there, there are some IDs pointing to people, there are some numbers, there are some timestamps, numbers, counting votes in favor or against, but that's all. Another interesting platform, again launched by the Commission, is titled Have Your Say. This is the first page of this platform. You can see different discussions that have started, initiated, so people can go there. This is an instance of a deliberation being conducted in this platform. I'll come back again to this. But as it holds for the previous one, for Polis, there is no natural language processing behind this. There are no algorithms that analyze the content of people's feedback, of people's opinions, of people's argument, and everything remains unstructured. Okay, thus it's not easily reusable, as I said before. Again, this is an instance of the database behind the Have Your Say platform. So here comes Orbis, and what do we say? We say we're going to try to move from transcripts and current solutions with the problems I mentioned before to semantically rich and machine interpretable discourses. So we try to build a partnership. Dimitris will say a few words at the end. Between humans and the machine, we want to build on current trends on AI and advance deliberation in order to address the challenges mentioned before. And what we say, we need to pay attention to three major issues. One is about knowledge mining. How do we get the feedback from people and policymakers, if you want, and how we analyze this feedback in a meaningful way? How do we extract and we maintain chains of argumentation? How to make the machine somehow interpret this? How we aggregate feedback when the cases as the ones that Antonis mentioned before? How we group together similar opinions? How we provide summaries of comments and opinions when the numbers go up? And third, how we visualize this deliberation in a way that engages people, makes them aware of what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll try to give you three examples about what we've done so far. I use a specific example from Have Your Say platform. I picked up a particular discussion. It's about hazardous chemicals. And as you see in the second image there, 668, there is feedback inserted from the categories you see in this pie, but there are 2,668 pieces of text, they call it feedback, expressed by all these people. And what we try to do, it's a good number to start clustering, to start grouping these opinions, the sayings that we have collected through this platform. There is a bunch of algorithms behind what you see here. It's just a visualization of two groups that prevail. But what we also do is we can, with AI algorithms, get a summary of this cluster, of what has been said that has been grouped in this cluster. We can extract and produce, create, develop a title for this cluster. And the easier part is at the end that we can extract key phrases, top key phrases, keywords, key phrases that are being discussed a lot. So this applies to one cluster, the similar thing to the second one. Okay. So again, 2,668 pieces of feedback clustered in two groups with the titles, the summaries, and the keywords that you see there. Example number 2, we go to Brexit. Brexit, surprisingly, has a lot of discussions, but with not much feedback. We picked this one about can there be consensus on Brexit? That was the issue under investigation. We followed another approach. 53 arguments only had been expressed. The discussion was closed. 53 arguments. So we thought, OK, let's apply another bunch of algorithms related to sentiment analysis. So we get an idea of who is in favor, who is against, who believes that can be consensus, who does not, or who is skeptical. And if I go to the browser, I'll show you live now what we do. So we have already produced a dashboard, created a dashboard that at a glance gives an idea of what's going on. So this is the discussion I mentioned before. You see here, you can get some, Sorry, but this is the live. Yeah. So you see the number of comments, number of positions, users, arguments, etc., etc. The most popular positions, latest arguments, influential users are the users that got a lot of responses to what they have said. Top keywords. Also, we have produced some timelines, like I told you about 3 positions being saved, and here somebody can watch how many arguments have been placed so far and per week that respond to each position. Similar here for clustering, and I want to show you also something else that we are working on. So this is our first try to visualize the discourse, okay, the particular discourse. So here you see this is the issue under discussion. The 3 positions that we extracted out of the opinion mining of the sentiment analysis process I told you before. So one is that I'm rather skeptical on the issue. I doubt we can agree on it. Consensus is highly feasible. And underneath, you can see the clusters of arguments expressed so far. One can browse this discussion, can arrange things the way he likes. Imagine a case where this discussion goes on, and you just being heard about it, and you want to participate. You say, oh, this is interesting. I have my say. I want to say something. And this has started 2 months ago. So we think that this is a good first effort to visualize and to give a quick idea to someone about what's going on in this discussion. I can show you a bit more. These visuals correspond to clusters. So as I showed you before, for each cluster, we can provide a summary and the title. When you go to a cluster, you can open it, and you see the particular individual arguments that are within it. If I can go again to, thank you. Third example, I go a bit, this is a difficult exercise. This is the, Anthony, Achilles know it very well, and some others here. It's the transcript for the discussion they had last year in Korea. It's a 60 pages long Word document. What we try to do, we have been experimenting with a series of clustering and summarization algorithms aiming to discover topics and representative opinions. Okay. So we can dig into this document. We can extract clusters. I was happy that when I showed this to Anthony the other day, because he was aware of this discussion, he was very positive with the outcome of the titling that our algorithms got and the summaries provided. What we can also do is, through some similarity measures, it's a bit technical, to find out of this 60 pages long document the most representative sentences for each cluster. The same for cluster 2. There are many algorithms behind what you saw before. We've been experimenting with a lot of them in the context of the project, but also beyond that. I don't think I need to go into details with AI algorithms. Dimitris.
Yeah, if I may say, hello, first of all. Nikos gave the overlook of what AI can do. This work is done in the Orbis project, which is an EU-funded project with 12 partners from Europe, from academia, companies, and representatives of think tanks and civic engagement citizens. The project is in the beginning. It started in March. We have a long way. Here you can see our first approach, the first prototypes. And more to come, it's like our future work will emphasize on what we say as co-creation of arguments towards building, let's say, a repository of arguments and eventually build a library of deliberations. What we will try to do after that is to connect, to interconnect, let's say, these deliberations. This can be, for example, in the case of ADF, we want to create the library of of the discussions we have now. We want to extract the arguments. I mentioned ADF because it's also a partner of our project. Another pillar, let's say, that we work is how to detect conflict and how to handle. It's another issue. And future work also goes on handling misinformation. I think it was raised today as a quite important issue. And what AI eventually can do, aside, let's say, from Orbis, is that we can, after we structure these deliberations, we can engage towards engaging citizens and inform them, because that was also mentioned today. We want to go towards informed decision-making, informed policy-making. Another pillar is predictions. We can predict that this type of users may respond like this on an issue that is similar to another issue. These are, let's say, what we can do with AI algorithms and what we call natural language processing. Now, our solution overall is in alignment with a lot of guidelines initiated by OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or the EU and the United Nations, just to name a few. For example, in the EU, we work with the Competence Center on Participatory and Deliberative Democracy. They support innovative methods towards civic engagement, towards citizen participation, decision-making, and this is what we're trying to achieve. But from all the discussions that we heard today, aside from these guidelines, many projects or initiatives that were presented today, I think we can support you in the discussion, for example, in the building blocks that was mentioned earlier today, or the democratic odyssey that was also mentioned. What we want to do is to structure the discussions, and also you that participate know that we have that you should also consider how to talk in a structured way, how to emphasize on the arguments, and this is something that we want to show. So aside from all these initiatives that I think we're in compliance or we're compliant with, all these stories that were mentioned today is of interest to us, and we will be happy to support you. All right, so our goal, let's say, because the challenges of adding and developing AI tools, I think most of them were mentioned. We are aware, again, most of them, like ethical issues, privacy issues, who handles this data, how these models are trained. I think there's also tomorrow a discussion on this, which is, in my opinion, very interesting. So what we advocate is we want human in the front. We want, to make the human and machine partnership easier to work. If I have to align it with the commitment of ADF, which is around think, talk, and do, I would say that we should integrate AI capabilities in the think pillar, in the talk pillar, and in the do pillar, I will leave humans, at the front, but that's for debate. So what we want to do is inclusivity, address inclusivity when we mention the equal and documented participation. With documented, we emphasize on the structured manner that we can discuss, and also the machines can help us with that, towards eventually restoring the faith of citizens in democratic and social values. This is our goal. We mentioned also the term the Internet of Beings because we all want to be part of these discussions. We all participate. We have the capabilities. And our message is that the difference with democracy like 1,000 years and today, I think the challenges more or less are the same, but now we have also the tools. Actually, the needs are the same, the challenges are different, but we have now the tools, and now the tools are approachable to a large amount of people. This is something different, the main difference. And I'm mentioning that because we as technical partners, we can show you what their capabilities, but we all must decide how we're going to use them. So this is how we're going to end our discussion. We also do dare to hope, as is the main question of the meeting today, and as the previous speaker said. We dare to hope because we believe that we have struggled a lot, and humanity has struggled a lot to reach today and talk about these things and eventually, work towards ruled by and for the people. This is our approach. Thank you.
Okay, if there are any questions, Nikos and Dimitris are at your disposal. We've got a few minutes. You can ask them any questions if you want to clarify, because they've just given you today a small sample of what is the work that is being done up till now. They've given you also the option of looking at what will be done in the future, much more. For those of you who do not know it, the results that they came out with from the Korean roundtable were not the results that we came up with.
Yeah. But, Anthony, maybe, oh, sorry.
Hello. Hi, my name is Dana Dejani. I have a question for you. Do you see these platforms, whether Polis or Have Your Say, and the AI to synthesize all of the information shared, do you see that being integrated into our social media platforms? And why or why not? And how soon?
You go.
I think it's straightforward what you ask. I mean, what I saw you before, it's like this is already launched for demo purposes on a web. So it's pretty straightforward for us, I would say, to have an app version. We didn't have time to show you more, but we really strive to make participation as easy as we can, the way you use Instagram or the like, or this family of applications. So, clicking on it, selecting that now I want to express an argument in favor of this position or an argument against. But maybe that was not clear before. We want to make it structured. We want to make, I say it again, we want to make the deliberation structured. We want to distinguish, for example, positions, arguments in favor, against, constraints, preferences. So the machine gets involved more and more, and we exploit, the reasoning of the machine, the reasoning mechanisms of the machine, and absorb all the material, the big data, in a way that humans, policymakers, can further work on them.
So, my name is Urban Strandberg. I'm the director of the International Youth Think Tank. So, thank you very much for this presentation. Very, very inspiring work of yours. We know one thing about democracy, and that is the cleavages between the elite, I mean the elected politicians, not often, often the parliamentarians, and the people. That cleavage is huge, and not least in the US, to mention one example. So have you been thinking about analyzing parliamentarian debates with your tool to have the possibility of sharing, I mean, what kind of discourses, what kind of dominating discourses that you will find in parliaments as compared to other forums where people, I mean, from different walks of life are kind of relating to the same kind of issues.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Just to emphasize that within the project, there are two pillars that we work. One is the technical that we mostly presented, and the other one is the deliberation models, how we engage, experts first, then citizens, then experts again, and we're experimenting with that. A comment that within the project we have discussed is that there is this, fear of the elite of the parliament, of the public administrations, of the citizen's voice. There are two schools of thoughts, from what I have understood, is that they are the ones who are afraid that people will rule against what the politicians want, and the other thought is that people were never really asked, and if they are asked, you would all be surprised that they might, have common ideas. So our approach is that let's experiment, and we move on from them. Yeah.
But to complement that, I think you mentioned something. We try to get legacy resources, transcripts. For example, we have retrieved everything that exists for the Greek parliament, and in order to analyze it, to train algorithms and models, etc. It's important. There are language issues. Okay, there are context issues. There is no one solution fits all. So. The models, the summarization models, the aggregation models need structuring, restructuring, refinement, etc., etc. I think there was another question, if we can. Yeah.
Have time.
Congratulations on launching Orbit or making it better in the future. You talked about the retrieving the data from Greek governments,
Parliament,
right?
Yeah.
Parliament. So my question is, how do you envision access to certain APIs, for example? How do you also envision managing the data part? Like, where do you get it? How do you get it? Because a lot of it is monetized. So, and a lot of corporations would make profit out of the data. And this data, for example, Twitter, is very important because everyone is using Twitter, everyone is contributing to Twitter, but other businesses are not, they don't have access to the API of Twitter. So here, just an example, for Orbit, how do you, for example, consider using these sources of data for certain engagement? And thank you.
Yeah, first of all, the Orbis project is a research project, right? So we have use cases where within the project we gather data. And there is ADF also participates. There are use cases that we're going to set actually next year around it. So I'm just focusing on the research aspect. And what we're trying to say is that we can do these tools. We can develop these tools that can assist deliberations. We are aware of the, the privacy issues, the restriction issues, the monetization issues. So I will leave it up to the bigger companies to answer this question. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think we ran out of time, so yeah. It's a good issue. I mean, we definitely need to try different. In the context of Orbis, we talk about different deliberation models. So, I mean, how this deliberation gets initiated, by whom? Is it by citizens? Is it by the parliament, by some politicians? And then, for example, we give the pace for 2 months to citizens to express opinions, and then the machine comes, gathers things, refines things, clarifies things, cleans up the deliberation, and then, I don't know, we go voting, it goes back to... So this is related to what you said. So we need to try different models. As a last note, I want to mention that DCF participates in Orbis, and we are privileged to try this solution through 2 real use cases that they run for many, many years, and they know a lot, and we are happy that we'll get help from them. One is the building blocks of democracy, and the second is the Teams for Democracy. So I think we'll get much more valuable feedback and sources to go further. Thank you very much. We'll be happy to answer any questions in some, coffee breaks. Thanks again.
Thank you.